A lot went on at day 8 of Texans training camp. CJ Stroud continues to make it known. Someone returns. Someone could be returning soon. Someone's been off the field too long. Someone speaks for the first time. People got a lot to say. Goodness gracious, so much to get into. Such little time. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the
All right, so day 7 was active. Day 8 did not disappoint either. There was a lot going on, a lot of activity, a lot of high-spirited activity. I got some rumblings about what's going to go down tomorrow, and if you're going out there, or if you follow along and you like to get updates, you're going to love to hear what I'm hearing about what's going to go on tomorrow. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610 and on the Odyssey app. Denzel Perriman joined the show today. We've had a lot of interviews throughout the week. Just put out a video with the best of from John Mechie. We talked to players throughout the week. We're on the scene. We're at the games. We cover this squad. We don't work for the squad, but we have prime access. We'll always keep it honest with you. And if you are a Texans fan, no better place to come in the digital game and the radio game. And if you're not a Texans fan, no better place to come to keep a pulse of what's going on with the Texans. So you might actually have to pay attention to now. I don't blame you for not knowing anything about them before, but you might actually have to pay attention to them too. Might. No guarantees, but you might. And Day 8 takeaways start with the most important position, the most important maybe player that we've been talking about the most, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud continuing to leave no doubt with the Texans right now. It has been a very clear transition the last couple of days. Now, I don't know if they're going to still try to make this into some sort of competition, but today CJ Stroud took all the first-team reps. There wasn't any rotation, anything like that. CJ Stroud took all the first-team reps. And I don't know if this is where we're going. I will say this, though. This is the one thing that I think is maybe a coincidence, or it could be something very encouraging. We talked about it on this channel, and I listen to every press conference, and I present what I believe are the biggest takeaways to you, so you can follow along. So if week 7 comes around and D'Amico said something and it comes to light, if you follow this channel, you'll be able to know, oh, damn. And if you listen to this, if you've been listening to the show since I've been doing it, you know this as well, but now it's just available digitally. Man, he said this. And if you go back a couple of days ago, when Bobby Slowick kind of gave CJ Stroud that excuse of the heat, which, by the way, at the end of practice, CJ started good. We'll get specifically into how CJ Stroud looked. But he did look like he was struggling a little bit with the heat late. They had to come over, sprinkle some water on the neck and all that. And I don't think it's anything to be concerned about because he's never going to play in this type of heat in a game, and he's playing a lot better. But Bobby Slowick said that was a problem, and Bobby Slowick said that CJ Stroud knew how to bounce back. He said that's how CJ Stroud was built. And then they had the off day, right? Right after the off day was on Wednesday. We've had CJ Stroud's best day, and we've had CJ Stroud clearly the better quarterback and performing with the ones. So that to me means that Bobby Slowick either is good at talking to CJ Stroud and figuring out what he was doing wrong, or it's just some sort of coincidence. Who knows? Here's D'Amico Ryans, though, after practice. This is D'Amico Ryans, and I do think there's something specific. There's something tangible that I think CJ Stroud is doing that I'm noticing, And I wonder if other people who are putting their observations out there are noticing as well. Because quite frankly, I'll be honest, there's a lot of media types out there. People see things different ways, especially with practice. There's no rewind. There's no going back. There's no commentary. So sometimes people put out practice observations. I don't have any idea what the hell they saw or what the hell they're talking about or, what the hell they saw. Maybe it's me, maybe it's them, but sometimes people put them out and I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing there. Didn't see that, didn't notice that. Here's D'Amico Ryans on CJ Stroud.
Stroud's doing a great job, and he's improving, just like we asked all of our guys when it comes to just development and what do you expect from training camp? What do I expect from camp? I expect everybody to be better than they were the day before, and that's the main thing that I'm seeing out of a lot of guys. And today, it's really nice to see just new guys stepping up, making plays. So as we continue to build and new guys step up and make plays, it just shows our team is definitely growing in the right direction.
All right. That's D'Amico Ryans talking about that. Stephen James says Stroud has thrown 4 interceptions in 3 practices. He has to be the starter, being the number 2 pick in the draft, but I don't feel good about it. Don't feel good about it, like as far as how you feel about him, or don't feel good about it based on because you'd rather have Davis Mills out there. Because Davis Mills, there has been, like, if you're scoring this boxing style, Davis Mills has never won around 10-8 on any day. Like, even if you want to say Mills was better, it wasn't like some sort of like overwhelming knockout. I don't know what CJ Stroud's going to be. I don't know how good he's going to be, but 4 interceptions in 3 practices. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I don't see that. TJ asked, do they have this hat in the team shop? They did. Not sure if they do anymore. I got it handed to me from someone out there. Here's D'Amico Ryans talking about CJ Stroud's growth. And I think there is something tangible that CJ is doing that I want to touch on in a sec. But first, let's hear D'Amico talk about what he thinks CJ Stroud has grown from.
With how quarterbacks hold the ball, with CJ, what I've seen is he's definitely made, adjustments. He's getting the ball out quick. He's making the proper reads, and that's the first thing. We want him to just make the proper reads, and if one is open, deliver the ball. And he's doing that today, and that's how we want to operate efficiently. Right? And it all starts with our coaching staff and the plan and have the plays that they design for him to run. It's making sure they're efficient plays, making sure everybody knows what to do. And it's not just about that one player, that quarterback. But a lot of emphasis goes on him, but it's also about the receivers, the tight ends, the backs, making sure they're running the right route, their eyes are where they're supposed to be, they have the proper depth on the route. So there's a lot of things that go into a play being efficient, and also the quarterback delivered a nice ball. So he's been doing a good job.
Yeah, and it does seem like CJ is doing a much better job of kind of feeling things. One of the biggest knocks on him at Ohio State was he would often look to throw almost too much. He wouldn't use his legs. It seems like he's using his legs and he's displaying a pretty decent feel when pressure is coming. That's one thing that it does seem like the last couple of days has done. He's keeping his legs up. He's still looking to throw, but he's kind of displaying a little bit better feel when he's getting out of the pocket or rolling out. I'll give you all an example of that. This is a video, and this is our view. This is my view at practice. So we're broadcasting right there. That's our view right there on the 50. Here was one of the first plays of team, and here's just kind of how CJ kind of feels stuff out and gets out of the pocket. Get back in motion. See him kind of feeling it. And he's looking up. He's got Woods right there. So you can just kind of see kind of the feel that he's doing. He's doing that a little bit more consistently. As far as like specific plays from CJ Stroud, the throw of the day, the play of the day today that everyone will be talking about was the deep throw to Nico Collins on the left side. Nico Collins, I don't know if he's a complete receiver, but he's establishing himself as a deep threat, and he's establishing himself as perhaps a red zone threat. And quite frankly, if these other receivers are going to be, diverse and a little bit more of an expansive route tree, it can allow Nico to do what he does best. And it was a hella throw to Nico. He had another really good toss. You saw the one to Woods. He had a toss to Tank Dell. And he was it just kind of seemed like he felt it. Now, he did throw the interception to Denzel Perryman. Davis Mills also threw an interception to MJ Stewart. It was kind of at the end of practice, kind of looked a little bit tired. CJ did, but to go back to what we said at the start of this, CJ left, no doubt. Another entertaining play for me was they were doing 3rd and 1 drills, and there were a couple times where they were just running dive plays. Like they ran a fullback dive with Beck. They ran up the middle with Pierce. But then Bobby Slowick kind of went in the bag a little bit, and he had a 3rd and 1 little play action pass from CJ. And this is what that looked like. This is my point of view on that play. Oh, play action. Woods again. Okay, I like that. All right, so there you go. And Robert Woods, the most active that he's been in practice. I don't think that Robert Woods has struggled at all. It just seems like other guys have been getting used a little bit more. But I mean, I've been saying this from the jump. Like if I had to bet on who would lead this team in receiving, I would definitely go with Robert Woods. I think Robert Woods is going to be fine. That the 3rd and 1 though was a good thing to see, but both Mills and Stroud throw interceptions. Stroud's was late to Perriman, and Mills was kind of to his right side. I don't know if it's a check down or not, but for some reason, like Davis Mills, I think all of his picks have been to the right side, if I'm not mistaken. The Cashman one was to the right, like almost like a check down. And then this one was kind of like, it's almost like he just gets bored and throws it to the right. And I don't know if there's like some sort of trend there or some sort of, coincidence, but yeah, to the right side, Davis Mills threw yet another interception. And the interception from Stroud, Denzel Perryman got. The linebackers are looking really good to the point where today on Sports Radio 610, Hannah McNair, she came on, and Hannah shouted out the linebackers, and she brought up a pretty decent linebacker core. Here was Hannah McNair, and she was sitting with Cal. You could see her kind of talking to Denzel Perryman, but she brought up the linebackers.
Who was that linebacker crew you had me turn around and watch today? They were all young, fast. It was Hank the Tank, Toto. And then Harris and who was the other one?
Cash.
Oh, it was Cash.
Oh,
so
right.
Cal goes, turn around, watch this. I mean, we're just watching them.
One's 4-4, one's
talking that cash shit.
4-6. They're fast. They fly around. And so
I was thinking the last time we had a linebacker crew like that, what, 2011?
Yeah. So we'll see. There's a lot of fun parts they're playing with out there and figuring out where they all fit and when are they going to play and all those things is going to be really a lot of fun.
Hannah talking that cash shit. I'm telling you, Blake Cashman doing his thing. And that brings me to my next observation. And this is from the last few days. And one of the most polarizing comments about, a certain player on this team has been Christian Kirksey. Christian Kirksey, it was kind of surprising to a lot of people that Christian Kirksey was on the squad to begin with. Just based on, what we saw the last couple of years. Seems like a good guy. Typically, when you say he seems like a good guy, you're about to say something that's not so good about him. You want to be able to do better than Christian Kirksey. Even the best that he offers you right now, you want to, as a defense, have somebody who has a similar floor and a higher ceiling. And probably someone that can cover a little bit better and be a little bit more consistent. That's not harsh. That's just reality of where Christian Kirksey is. early on in camp, you couldn't really tell, is Christian Kirksey looking better? Do they like Christian Kirksey? And they say good things about Kirko, as they call him. And it seems like Christian Kirksey might still have a good chance to make the squad, but he's been out all week. He doesn't seem to be moving greatly. And quite frankly, the linebackers, without him out there, they've looked way more athletic and they've been making plays. Christian Harris is doing his thing. You just heard Hannah even shout out Blake Cashman. He's doing his thing. To'o was running with the ones today. He seems to do his thing. D'Amico Ryan seems to love him. Nick Caserio seems to love him. And Denzel Perriman looks pretty good too. He had the interception. And there's some other guys that are kind of sneaky productive out there as well. So I don't want to bag on the guy too bad. It's probably hard at this point in his career to kind of, sit on the sidelines and see all the young guys generate this much excitement. But I find it hard to believe, based on what I've seen the last couple of seasons, that the linebackers with Christian Kirksey out there would look as impressive. And quite frankly, sometimes you just get hurt at the wrong time. There are some guys who can make the team from the tub. Really good players. They can make football teams from the tub. Hell, even some not so good football players could probably make the team from the tub. Tegan Quinturiano, I think he would be able to make the team from the tub. I'll give you an update on him, by the way. Tegan Quinturiano and Dalton Schultz returned. I'll give you some nugs on him as well from today. But Christian Kirksey can't. And I don't know if he could have from the field, if we're being honest. You save $4 or $5 million cutting him. But now that you've given them a visual of what it looks like without him out there, I mean, the linebackers are playing well. So I don't know about old Kirko making this squad. Damn sure not going to make it from the tub. Subscribe, right along. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Jerome Kicks already thinking Madden. Linebacking core going to be fun to use on Madden. Speed. There is a lot of speed. That old sideline to sideline type of stuff. To'o. We'll props for spelling that name right, by the way. I don't know if you want to put 25 pounds on him. That seems like a little bit of a lot. I think he weighs 230 pounds. You want him to be 255? I mean, geez, you want him to be 260? And the only reason I know that is because McLean's ass asked him his weight. But yeah, I don't know if you want that. Let's hear from Henry To'o. This was him after practice. He got his first John McClain experience. Henry To'o with John McClain here in the locker room, reacting to day 8 of Texans camp.
Where do you think you are right now? How's it going?
Where are you?
Houston, Texas. I'm here.
Where did you think you
I'm
are?
having a great time with the guys. Getting used to being an NFL player. Being a pro. But I love where I'm at. I love the guys. I love the team. We have a great culture building here with Coach D'Amico and all the guys that we bring in. So I'm super excited. Super excited.
I just said great things about you. That make you feel good knowing your head coach.
Yeah. There's always definitely room to improve. So I think that's my biggest thing where I look at things. For every good, there's a bad. So I try to approach it that way. So no matter how many good things I have, I try to work on all my bad things. So that's how I approach it.
I'm always intrigued by McClain.
Dawn
because
Power Wash has 3 cleaning boosters not found in traditional dish soaps. It's more than soap. It's Power Wash.
What can you do when you need to sound like yourself, but warmer?
I'm always intrigued by McClain when, he says, I really want to talk to these guys. And he complains about, I want to talk to this guy. I want to hear what this guy has to say. And then, so what was the question? Where are you right now? How does it feel for coach to say good things about you? he also had to get this one in. Y'all knew this was coming if you listen to the channel. This is the McLean weight question.
So, that's my dog and my best friend. And
Talking about Christian Harris.
He just clicked with us, and I've worked for life.
How good is it to be to have your family here with you on this ride?
Man, it's a blessing. I'm Samoan and Tongan, and the Polynesian culture, we're huge on family.
Wait for the McLean.
And family means everything. Faith, family, football. I mean, that's what we believe in.
Isn't it kind of funny that Jack Easterby acted like he invented that phrase? What a jackass he was.
I carry my last name Toto with pride, and I'm the first one to do this, so I carry that with joy, and I'm gonna give it my all while I'm here.
How much do you weigh?
I was 230. Yeah.
He looks back like, what is this guy doing?
Appreciate it.
How much do you weigh? 230. All right. Thanks, John. John McLean Experience from Toto. Shout out to the general. Shout out to the legend. There. Looking at some of the questions. McLean loves the point. He loves the point. But yeah, I think Toto is at his right weight. I think he's going to be a smaller linebacker. Other takeaways today. So some good news for the Texans. You had Dalton Schultz back on the field. I did not have the phone out, but there was a one-on-one drill between Dalton Schultz and Jalen Petrie on the side field. Fans couldn't really get a good view of this, but Schultz went up the sidelines. Petrie guarding him, one-handed grab on the sideline, both feet in bounds. And you could immediately tell that, Schultz was feeling pretty good about himself when he caught that. Here is Dalton Schultz, or here is D'Amico Ryans talking about Dalton Schultz and him being back on the field.
With our tight end group, like I said, they've done a really good job throughout camp, and those are guys that we will rely on. Our tight ends, it should be quarterback friendly with the route running, their ability, right? They should be very quarterback friendly for our offense, and we're expecting them to be, big time playmakers for us.
I think Dalton Schultz is one of the most important guys on this squad. Now, there's a lot, but Dalton Schultz is one of the most important guys on this squad. Before he went down, he was one of the better players on this squad. That tight end position, some people, talking about perhaps concern right now with the tight end position. I just think it's early camp injuries. Now, Brevin Jordan, I don't know where he fits in, but between Andrew Beck, Schultz, Quintariano, who I'll have an update on in a second, and then whoever else, maybe they even bring someone in. I think you're going to be okay at tight end. I think there's a lot of things that you can do, and I think that Dalton Schultz is going to be a really key part of what they do. Tegan Quintariano, some news on him. We saw him last year, started out injured, but the surprising thing about him is for a guy that was drafted at that point and missed that much important time, quote, important time for a rookie, he was immediately ready to go. He had the early touchdown. He was pretty good in the run game, had another touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, and then he had the long catch against the Colts. He is on the sidelines. He is foaming at the mouth to get out there. Today on the far field, before fans were even seated, or fans may have been seated, but they damn sure couldn't see all the way out there. Quintariano was going through the same process that Chase Winovich went through the day before he got on the field. So I got to think Quintariano's close. I asked him today, when are you coming back? Kind of smiled and he said, pretty soon. So I think Quintariano is back either tomorrow or Monday for the game week. Don't know if they'll let him play immediately, but the tight end position that many people were concerned about, I don't think there's too much concern. Now, Brevin Jordan, I don't know. I have not even seen him lately. Now, I'll be honest. I haven't been just fretting and looking for Brevin Jordan. Haven't really seen him lately. But you saw Schultz back on the field. You saw Quintariano appearing to be taking a physical, and he was ramping up a little bit. So I would anticipate that the tight end position will be pretty good once you get at least those two guys and Beck on the field. I think you'll be pretty pleased with that position. Early on in practice, this was another observation talking about Texans day 8 takeaways, locker room exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe, like, download, right along for the best Texans coverage in the country. And one-on-ones, Kenyon Green was getting his ass kicked. There's no other way to put it. He was getting his ass kicked. I talked to someone else at practice about it. It was ugly. Malik Collins was kind of roughing him up, which, hey, sometimes it's good to get kind of physically dominated a little bit. At one point, he kind of had to walk off. I was wondering if there was like some sort of shoulder injury or something like that. I was wondering if he's going to be, done for the day. Good news is he was not. He returned to the field after getting roughed up a little bit and started out pretty sluggish in team, but recovered decently and looked okay out there. Did he look great? No, he looked okay. He looks like he's going to be your starting guard, left guard, for better or worse. But those one-on-one drills, I will say, if Malik Collins is roughing you up, I mean, what's Jeffrey Simmons going to do to you? What's DeForest Buckner going to do to you? What's Hayward going to do to you? Lopez was bringing it up today. They got some matchups once again with some pretty good D tackles. So, not the most encouraging thing from Kenyon Green. Other takeaways, Juice Scruggs worked with the ones a little bit. Jimmy Morrissey moved up the depth chart a little bit. Here was D'Amico Ryans talking about Juice Scruggs. He's always said really good things about him. Let's hear kind of what the tone is now that he knows, it's not going to be some gradual process, and you may have to play Juice Scruggs, maybe, sooner than maybe you wanted to.
With Scott being hurt, first and foremost, it's just, we're all praying for Scott and hoping for, healthy recovery for him. It was hard to see him go down yesterday. You hate to lose anyone like that on the practice field. Scott's a competitor. I know he'll attack the rehab just like he attacked his preparation each and every day. Smart guy, tough competitor, wishing him the best. And when it comes to replacing guys or guys stepping up, it's part of the game. That's why you're here. Everybody's here because we expect you to step up and play at some point. That time, who knows that time? No one knows what can happen. So you always have to be ready. You always have to be on your A game. You always have to be prepared because you never know when that moment is for you to step in and play. And that's the situation we're in now.
It's a situation they're in. Now, here's my thing about this, because I talked about this with my co-host, the OG John Lopez. Let's pretend that Scott Quessenberry was going to be the best center on the Houston Texans. And let's pretend that the Texans were going to get to a point where they didn't feel that Juice Scruggs was ready to play over Scott Quessenberry. I don't 100% believe that to be the case. I think this was some sort of process, and I think eventually Juice Scruggs would have won that gig. But let's pretend that it would have been Scott Quessenberry. Couple of things. First of all, even at the most optimistic outlook of Scott Quessenberry and what you think Scott Quessenberry would be, that should be something that you should be able to overcome. Given the fact that you invested all you did in Juice Scruggs, and given the fact that you selected Juice Scruggs when you did, that should be something that you should be able to overcome. It should also be something that maybe you should be able to acquire. However, later on in camp or as the season approaches. Center was a big need heading into the offseason. Big need. And if you're to the point where Scott Quessenberry is like a massive, massive loss, then I'm not sure you can really say that you addressed it as well as you would have liked to have. given the fact that your second round pick didn't live up to that, and given the fact that he would have been the better guy. I just find it hard to believe that this is going to be like a massive deal. The other thing is, we don't know how good this scouting department evaluates interior offensive linemen at this point. That was one of my biggest question marks heading into the season, because you brought back Justin Britt last year. We don't need to rehash all this, but you drafted Kenyon Green in the first round. I'm sitting here saying that Kenyon Green had a good day because he was average after getting roughed up in one-on-ones. You don't know if they're good at evaluating offensive linemen. Now, maybe Juice Scruggs goes in and does his thing. I anticipate there to be some sort of struggles, but if Scott Quessenberry is a big loss, no disrespect to him, it's a damn shame that he's not going to get to go out there, then you probably didn't address this position as successfully as you would have hoped. Other takeaways from day 8, the running backs, it's still kind of hard to tell about these running backs. Dameon Pierce is fine. Singletary's fine. Mike Boone, I guess, would be your third best back. He's got some decent stuff going on up there, but it's nothing like remarkable. Preseason's really going to be where, when we talk about the 3 down of the running back depth chart, that's really where we're going to have to get a look at these guys and what they bring to the table, what they can bring to the table, and what they're capable of. That's where we gotta. That's really where we're going to be, and where we're going to learn about the running backs. I know that when they're not bringing them to the ground, they always going further. Like, there's nothing like really like overly sticking out about these running backs. Maybe the coaching staff is seeing some other things, but for a simp like me, I'm not seeing anything sticking out. Same thing with the interior offensive line. Very hard to evaluate. No idea what to really say about the interior offensive line, to be honest. Other takeaways, Jacob Martin appears to be in pretty decent shape to make the squad. And I did not anticipate that this was going to be the case. But Jacob Martin appears to be in really good shape right now to make this squad. He's got speed. He's contributing on special teams, and he seems to have a little bit of juice, and he seems to be kind of have like a little bit of a leadership role on this squad. Let's hear again from D'Amico Ryans. This is D'Amico Ryans talking about his coaching style as we continue our day 8 takeaways here in the locker room. Here's D'Amico on what his coaching style is. He goes a little bit hardo, but it'll probably get you a little bit excited.
What type of coach am I? Right? I am a coach who's going to shoot it straight to the guys. Right? These guys have a limited amount of time in their careers, and we don't know how long their career will be. So for me, I'm not going to sugarcoat it to a player to make him feel good. It's on me. I'm going to tell players the truth, whether they like it or not, because I know in the end, right, they'll respect me more by telling them the truth. And that's the type of coach I am. If it's good, I'll let you know it's good, and I'll celebrate the good as much as I can. That's what I want to do. Spotlight as much good as possible, but we also have to make sure we're getting things corrected in a quick manner. Right? We don't have a lot of time, right? It's a sense of urgency, right? We have short amount of time to get things fixed and move on so we can be prepared to go play and play well. So it's not I have a lot of sense of urgency in my approach to coaching, and I hope the players feel that.
Yes. And right now it seems like the players are kind of buying into what D'Amico is selling. which is very important. The no nonsense type of style. The why, as I've spoken about, has been something that's stuck out. Other things from practice, I saw that there was a video of Titus Howard blocking Will Anderson, and immediately you get questions. Hey, I heard that Titus Howard was getting the best of Will Anderson and all that. Nah, I don't think that's accurate. It was pretty back and forth all practice. And quite frankly, the rep that they showed, Will stayed in his lane. He held his ground. He didn't try to just go to the right or go wide left or anything like that. Like sometimes that's just as effective of a rep as, blowing by somebody. So yeah, Titus is putting in that work. They're giving it to each other, but I mean, it might not have made the highlight tape, but there were times where Will Anderson was busting his ass too. Will Anderson had a strip sack. I don't know if it would have been credited to Will Anderson or Desmond King, but there was a fumble by, I think it would have been ruled a fumble. Maybe the arm was coming forward. I don't know. They didn't have the replays going today. But there was a moment where Will Anderson kind of got through there and did his thing, and Des King was there as well. But yeah, I didn't think that Titus was like busting. Nobody's busted Will Anderson's ass all day. Laramie Tunsil was off. Word on the street is that we will hear from Laramie Tunsil tomorrow. Laramie Tunsil is going to he's going to be at the podium, I am told, or I am hearing. He was dipping on the sidelines today. Shout out to LT, the dip on the lip. They had still tipping playing, and he was dipping. The secondary continues to look pretty good. I know that the social media team's kind of been picking on Stingley a little bit. I'm just kidding. It just does seem like, sometimes when the highlights go out there, it kind of seems like that. The interior D line defending the run, they've defended the run really well. There weren't a ton of impressive run plays today. The interior D line is doing a very nice job defending the run. It's been a defensive. It started out with the offense looking as good as they've looked, but the defense kind of came on. It's been kind of a defensive camp, which you'd expect, and they're not just sitting there running base defense. They're coming pretty intensely after the quarterbacks. Roy Lopez is looking very good. Kurt Hinish, hard to notice. Haven't even really seen anything from Kurt Hinish. Last year, Kurt Hinish was sticking out like a sore thumb. This year, not really a lot of Hinish action at all. I am hearing word on the street. Now, sometimes the word on the street doesn't come through. I am hearing that tomorrow's practice is basically going to be like a scrimmage. So we might have perhaps the most intense 11-on-11s that we've had up to this point. And we've had pretty damn entertaining practices the last couple of days. Word on the street, tomorrow's practice could be like kind of scrimmagey. So will CJ get the ones, the reps with the ones again? I think so. I think they're kind of done messing around. Talk about cranking it up with Quiteriano and some of the injured guys. I think they're kind of cranking it up with CJ too. But tomorrow's practice is going to be fun. It's going to be at 5:00. Astros are going to play at noon. I don't know if y'all are into that Diaz, Jake Paul type of fight. It's kind of hard for me because Nate Diaz is probably my favorite MMA fighter of all time. Kind of worried he might end up looking rough. Ridgeway is fine. He's filling some space. Kenyon Green getting hated on. I'm not going to lie. It's not amazing with Kenyon Green. Doesn't look incredible at all. Practice is going to start at 5 p.m. If you're not out there. Briscoe says DJ Bienemy already said it's a scrimmage on Twitter. Yes. So I have not really been reading tweets, but yeah, DJ probably heard the same thing that I heard. So shout out to DJ and everything that he's got going. Woods was not off and on the side. He was very, very much active. And Jerome saying they blew a first-round pick on Kenyon Green. I don't know, man. If you're going to get a guard, it's got to be a little bit more than is he going to be decent. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, those are the day 8 takeaways. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Tomorrow, 5:00, going to be locked in. Won't have to do a show during. We'll still have the stream going most likely around 10 instead of 9 since practice is at 5, so I can gather everything up. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. I appreciate everyone for coming through. It's getting extra fun out here. And just remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we are all in this together. Have a good one. TGIF&F.
Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways.